A real estate add-on that's really starting to gain popularity is a hybrid approach between having just a floor plan or a 360 tour or both. They're known as interactive floor plans, and although they've been around for a little while, there are more options today. Now, these are more budget-friendly, mid-range options you can provide to your clients. For instance, if somebody doesn't have the budget for a full-blown 360 with a high accuracy floor plan, they don't want just a floor plan, they want something in between that also gives them some tour capability. Now, if you are interested in some full-blown 360 tours with high accuracy floor plans, I do have a review video on my channel. I've got a link to that down in the description of this video to cover things like iGUIDE and Matterport. But in this video, what we're going to do is look at these mid-range options and how you can actually save your clients money and put more money in your pocket as well. Now, as we all know, when it comes to quality and price, there is a linear relationship between that, and that the higher the price, the higher the quality. So we're going to go right in the middle on some of these options. In fact, in some cases, depending on the floor plan that you're using, some of this may come at no additional cost to you, and it'll provide your clients some tour capability. The two that are really standing out on this, you're probably already familiar with Zillow Showcase, but CubiCasa now also has an option to do this. It's called a CubiCasa Tour, and it's a very good interactive floor plan. So what I want to do in this video is I want to compare those two so you can see the differences, what the full costs would be for doing this, and then leave it up to you to make your choice if you want to provide this or which one to your clients as another offering and add-on that's that hybrid approach between just a floor plan or a full-blown 360 tour. So comparing CubiCasa to Zillow Showcase, we're going to take a look at CubiCasa first. This is what they call the CubiCasa Tour. It's an interactive floor plan, and you can see here using it on desktop that we've got this floor plan on the left, we've got photos then on the right that we can move through instead of just having a floor plan itself. Now, we're going to take a look at how this looks on mobile in a second. But first, let's take a look at this just on the desktop version. And you can see there are markers here of where my view is. Right now it's showing that I'm looking into this room this way. If I click on anything else, like I'll click on the dining room, and it shows me the dining room picture. And this is nice in that what it's doing is it's going through the photos that I've taken, not necessarily the 360 view. Now, a 360 tour can be really great to navigate when you're using iGUIDE, Matterport, and whatnot. But sometimes clients don't exactly like the 360 effect. They don't like to show everything. Also, the quality usually isn't the same as the photos that you'd be taking. All these were taken using, for instance, the flambient techniques. I'm using flash and whatnot. So these photos I can then move around here, and I can then take an entire tour through this property. Now, the one thing you'll see that's missing doing an interactive tour that you would get if you were using, for instance, Matterport or iGUIDE, is I don't have little things to click on. I can't move this around and click on it, but this is why it's a hybrid approach. I can still see the view of this room from the floor plan. I can go over here then and see another view from this angle on the floor plan. I just can't navigate around and spin around like I would if I had the full-blown capability of using a 360 tour. But at the same time, bear in mind, this was only captured with a cell phone. So just like you would do on any other CubiCasa tour, I've already taken the pictures, and all that I have to do, and we'll show later in the video, how you can just upload your photos and CubiCasa's AI will automatically place them in these markers for you. And then of course you'd have some edit capability as well. But the same goes for anything. I can decide, do I want to show this garage here? And if I only want to show this particular angle, do I want to show this bedroom down here? Well, I can show that, but maybe not everything else. For instance, if I go upstairs here, it's similar to other tours where you can be limited. And you can see here, I only put in just a few markers. That's all I wanted to be able to show in this tour. So your client can also decide if they want to limit this to certain rooms, if they want to showcase particular rooms, and then it's up to the floor plan that you're putting together here, how that then all goes together, instead of a 360 tour where everything is going to be seen. Now, one thing I also wanted to mention here before showing Zillow Showcase is that if you're interested in trying the CubiCasa tour, I have a link down in the description of this video where you can get 3 free plus orders from CubiCasa. And the plus package that they have is normally $15. You get that for free, and then that comes with a free CubiCasa tour, this floor plan. So you can do 3 of these for free just to check that out. Once again, link down in the description of this video. But now let's move on to Zillow Showcase. So you're probably familiar with Zillow Showcase. Here is the 360 view. I show some of this once again also in that other video that I mentioned about comparing iGUIDE, Matterport, and other 360 cameras. But when it comes to the interactive floor plan, their version of it here, it is different in that first, the default view on desktop is going to flood the screen, not always. And then they have 2 different type of markers. If you click on one of their green icons, that goes then to the photos. And this is now where we're in the interactive floor plan seeing the photos. Now it's a little bit different in that the floor plans are pretty small over here on the sidebar. And if I wanted to see I could still navigate to another room, I can do that here. But I don't really have a big view of the floor plan. I'm seeing mostly the picture. And once again, if I go to the floor plan, I can see the entire floor plan, but then I have to decide what I want to view. Do I want to view this? And it does show up here that, oh yeah, that's the room that you're in. A little bit different. You can also then zoom around on these floor plans to see, but you really can't make them larger. If you were to expand it, that's where it just floods the entire screen. So it's a different interface. When we take a look at CubiCasa, that's different. I have a big floor plan on the left, and I've got my photos on the right. You can also see that the quality here is definitely higher, in my opinion at least, than what we're seeing on Zillow Showcase. The photos are really left up to the quality of the photographer. But the layout of this does seem to be a lot cleaner than if we go over to Zillow Showcase, which just is a little clunkier. Not quite the same quality that I'd expect out of this. Also, just navigating around can get just a little bit frustrating because, well, especially for a large house, what am I really clicking on here? I can't even see the names of the rooms. Now that's how it all looks on a desktop, but a lot of people are using cell phones nowadays to look at their listings. So what does this look like on mobile? Let's dig into that. So looking at it on mobile, we have CubiCasa on the left and we've got Zillow Showcase on the right. And you can see there's also a difference here. Now, CubiCasa does have some advantages in that the real estate does optimize for the floor plan, making sure that that does fit in here. And you usually don't need much more room up here unless you were going to go vertical in your photos, which for multiple listing services is pretty rare to do because some of those tend to automatically flip the vertical pictures. But the one thing that is a little advantageous when we take a look at Zillow Showcase is this right here. And that is a slider where you can move that up and down so you can resize the screen and bring this back and forth. It's just one of many other features that Zillow Showcase has, which also makes the Zillow Showcase screen a bit cluttered. Now with this, they're providing photos, floor plan, and then the 3D tour up here. But it is kind of clunky when you see that, and then here, this is where they adjust their floor. This is where you would do it down here. The photos have an overlap of the listing agent and whatnot. That's all listed down here in the bottom. So it is a different layout. I mean, it's kind of 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, but I would prefer the CubiCasa layout on mobile. The one thing I would love to see though CubiCasa do is to just add this resize pane. So they already have 2 panes written in their software to do this. If they could just add this so you could resize it, I think that would be a big benefit. So how does this break down price-wise and how you can make money? Let's talk about that real quick because you can turn this to your advantage. Either way, you want to leverage this. So if you're using Zillow Showcase, it's not going to cost you anything at all. And you can download floor plans and the 360 tours and all that, and your client can rehost that again on their multiple listing service. It is a little clunky. It's not exactly the smoothest thing. But the thing with Zillow Showcase is you have to have a 360 camera. That's not the case if you're using CubiCasa. Also, another thing to bear in mind is that Zillow Showcase, while it's free to the photographer, it costs your client a subscription fee. And I've got a separate video talking about that, advantages, disadvantages of Zillow Showcase, so if you want to talk to your clients about it, this is what you can do as an approach to offer this to them. But overall though, it's going to cost your client probably at least $200 a month. Usually it's about $400 a month just to have that one listing as a showcase listing, and then they still have to pay you. So while you could make more money off of a Zillow Showcase listing than your clients would be paying out to Zillow, it's probably not going to be the case. That's how it looks on paper, but your clients are already paying out so much more that they won't want to pay very much extra to have you do the work. This is where we flip the tables when we take a look at CubiCasa. So CubiCasa, if you're already buying that $15 floor plan, they call it the Plus package. If you're already buying that, then the CubiCasa Tour, the interactive floor plan, comes with that at no additional cost. There's also no work on your end to put it together. I mean, you can edit it and all that. And I'm going to show how you can build that tour also here later on in this video. But with that being the only cost and your client doesn't have to pay for a monthly subscription to Zillow, you can then charge more for this because it provides them more value. So that puts more money in your pocket and it saves your client money at the same time. The other thing with using CubiCasa, unlike Zillow Showcases, CubiCasa, you just use your phone. All you're doing is you're scanning the property, doing the floor plan, and then you're already taking photos anyway, so there's no additional effort on your part. So that's a little bit easier than doing Zillow Showcase, but once again, it does depend if your client is already a Zillow Showcase preferred agent, they want to have a Zillow Showcase listing, they've been paying it for a subscription, well, you really have no choice but to do what they want and do the Zillow Showcase. If they aren't and they're tossing around different ideas, this is where you've got a lot of flexibility. Sure, if they want the Zillow Showcase, they could do that. If they want a full-blown 360 tour, sure, they could use Matterport or iGUIDE. But if they want this hybrid approach that's going to be more budget-friendly, then they can go with the CubiCasa Tour. The other thing I wanted to mention too about CubiCasa that has an advantage for real estate photographers is they have a preferred photographers program that can get you 25% off the products you purchase through CubiCasa. So that can save you some money right there, and also you can get faster turnarounds. But besides that, let's take a look now at how you would make one of these CubiCasa tours one of their interactive floor plans. Creating the interactive floor plan in CubiCasa is really simple. They call it a CubiCasa Tour. You can see that up here. So once you have one of your jobs open, if you've scanned it, you've already probably seen this before, where you've got all the various floor plans that you can download. Now, this was the Plus package, which cost $15. And with that, then I have fixed furniture. So I'm seeing the stove, the island, I'm seeing all the bathroom fixtures, that type of stuff. So I like to provide that for my clients anyway, so I'd already be providing this. But the free part though is that you'll notice up here at CubiCasa Tour, it doesn't cost me anything more. And when I click on CubiCasa Tour, I get this screen. And once again, there is no additional cost to do this. All you have to do is go here and upload your photos. And then what happens is AI will then place those photos automatically for you, and you can edit it later, and I'll show you that here next. But all that you would do is, after you upload them, then you would just set what you want your cover photo to be. You would just go through your gallery, pick one, and then you just say generate tour. And mine took about, after the floor plan was already made, it only took about 20 minutes, I believe, when I did generate my tour. So let's take a look at that. So editing is really simple. Once it's all done, then you can see that CubiCasa automatically placed my markers here that coincide with the photos. Now it's using AI. It won't get it right 100% of the time, but it gets you a really good start. I only had to do a few edits myself. But what you would do is, once this is ready, then you would click on Quick Edit. And here's the editor. So I can click on any of these markers. Let's say I wanted to click on this marker right here. You can see that's the photo that I chose to use. Now there'll be a whole list of photos that I can select from. And if it didn't catch something, or I decide later, I want to change it, I want to add maybe a different marker that I didn't include already, well, I can take photos and then I can just upload more photos. Each time I do, I can just drag that out onto the floor plan and just edit the marker. You can also then select the different floors. Here's like floor 1. I can go to floor 2 over here, edit those markers. I can then see all the floors at once. But if I want to be able to edit it, that's where you want to go here. Select, for instance, floor 1 or floor 2. But at least with all floors, you do get a reference. Now, what would be nice is if CubiCasa did have an option here where I can see the various markers. Right now, that feature doesn't seem to be there. But either way, it's pretty easy to edit. For instance, here, once again, clicking on some type of marker, I can see where it is. I can also go over here and I can rotate the marker. You can see by grabbing that little dot that's next to it. I can move that around. I want it farther into the room. I don't want it that far. Here, once again, I can drag, for instance, this marker over, rotate it a little bit. Whatever I'd like to do, I can then manipulate these markers as I see fit. And then once you're done and you're happy with it, all you got to do is then click this little icon up here that looks like an old floppy disk, and that will then save your tour. It'll ask you, do you want to save the model? You say okay. Then when it's done saving, all you got to do is go back over to your order over here, and you just click this share button right here. So when you click the share button, that's when you'll get all kinds of information here. You could make it inactive to where this tour isn't going to be live yet, but more than likely you want to have it active. And then you can have a link directly to the tour, and that's what we were stepping through, but you also have embed code that you can share with your clients that they can also put that on their MLS. Or with other websites that might be property hosting websites that you might be providing already as an add-on. Once again, to get more information about this and also to get some free plus packages so you can try out the CubiCasa tour yourself, check out the links down in the description of this video.